Oh, I forgot. I need to grab this. Okay. Hi, everyone. So, I'm still writing notes. I'm sorry. Okay. How is everybody doing? Hope you guys are doing well. So, I'm in the new place, and I love it. I feel very, very blessed. I feel like Jesus did a fabulous job picking this house for us. I can just, like sometimes when really good things happen or bad things or whatever, I just picture like the paperwork that's going on in heaven. So I'm always picturing the angels being like, okay, Lord, we think we found the place. There's like really tall ceilings. We've got red curtains for everybody. We've got like all these little details. We've got like a walk down by the river. It was fabulous. So anyway, I'm very, very appreciative. Good job, guys. Good job. So anyway, this week has had a lot of things happen, and my life really is like a sitcom. So I like to document this stuff for myself because I find it funny and sad and everything that like a story should be. So I thought I'd share it with you guys because this is the daily life. So, you know, like the more that you can glean from the things that are happening to you and share them, the deeper of an experience you have. A lot of times people, they just like, they let life happen to them and they don't really observe what's going on. So I'm always looking for themes. Like there's typically themes that happen in my life. So I like to hold on to those. And I used to journal all the time. I was always journaling or blogging or something like that. Now I do this, and it helps me to find the themes and to hold on to them and to remember what happened in my life. It's very fun to go back and be like, oh wow, look where I was like 3 years ago. It's really fun. It's fun to be able to do that. So anyway, last Monday, not this Monday, but the previous Monday, it was my first day here. I drove all the way down on Sunday, and it was about a 5-hour drive. I had a pretty good time driving down. We did have a lot of forest fires right before I left, so the whole time that I was driving, it was all white. I was just like driving through a wall of white. I could see quite a ways down, but like there were no mountains, there was no sky, it was just white. And so that was interesting. So felt very surreal, and to lighten the mood, I watched John Mulaney all the way down.
A lot of guys my age, I'll hear them say this. They go, every day I think I'm becoming more like my dad. I think I'm becoming more like my mom. Because I was watching that show, Access Hollywood, and one of the reporters said, up next, we have an exclusive interview with Sandra Bullock's former husband, Jesse James. And out loud, I went, ugh, this ought to be good.
And then I listened to a bunch of music, and I just scrolled through a lot of my stuff. I was finding myself going back to like my nostalgic, you know, I listened to a lot of Switchfoot. Papa John is what I call John Foreman. I love that man. Yeah, so I listened to a lot of his stuff, and it really felt good to feel at home in my music as I was traveling to this totally new place. It's very comforting. So then I got here on Sunday night. I go to sleep in my own bed, which was so nice. I was at a family house quite a ways away, and so there were like 2 beds in my room, and every other night I was sleeping either on the floor or on the bed trying to get comfortable because of my back. So I just felt like a little bit of a nomad, and so it was really nice to come and sleep in my own bed. And then that night, my mom was smelling smoke, and it was really funny because we normally go to bed fairly early. We go to bed, we're like old people. We go to bed around like 9:30. That's just our thing. Like we get tired. We always think like, oh, let's watch a movie or something. And then 9:30 hits and we're like, I'm so tired. So I was exhausted because of traveling. So I was like, I'm gonna go to bed really early tonight, like maybe 7:30. And so things kept happening to keep us awake. And so I was like trying to prep my room for bed and everything. And then my sister couldn't find her phone, so we were looking and looking for her phone. And then my mom was searching for the phone on our couch, and so she stuck her hand on the couch. And I still don't know what she cut her hand on, but she cut her hand on something. And so then I was looking for the first aid kit, and I knew that I had bought one for the trip on the way down. So I was like looking for that in the midst of all this chaos of, you know, trying to move in. So we've got like boxes and my stuff and everything. Was trying to find the first aid kit. Finally found the first aid kit, but bandaged up her finger. I go upstairs, and then I hear, "Oh no!" And I go downstairs, and glass is shattered. And so it was like, we have this vacuum that plugs up to the wall now, so I was getting the vacuum out, and like everybody was, you know, trying to help each other and like not step on glass. And then and I did finally, like, I was like finally in bed, and I was like, okay, good, I'm ready to fall asleep. And then I got up to go to the bathroom, because I always have to do that every time I lay down. I'm like, oh, okay, now I go to the bathroom. So then I run into my mom in the hallway, and she's like, do you smell smoke? And I said, I really can't smell that much of anything. And I don't know if it's because I was just used to the smoke smell or what, but she was like, I smell smoke. And so then we were wondering, like, well, why are we smelling this so heavily? Like, is there a fire nearby? Then we get a knock at the door. At first I thought it was firemen that came to the door. Apparently not. It was one of our neighbors, but the firemen were like right behind our home. There were apartments that were right behind our house that had caught on fire, and so the neighbor was saying, everybody is like evacuating, you need to go. And so we were like, okay. And I was thinking, I just got here. But then, so we all grabbed a few things, and I'll put a clip in. Lexi was hilarious. Go ahead.
Okay, so basically,
Yes.
Mama tells Rachel, Rue, you gotta start packing food. You gotta start packing stuff. Rachel goes Tasmanian devil style. Ashley's the like, okay, are we ready? Are we going? Oh my God. Okay. All right. I'm like, okay, so I'm just gonna grab my computer, and then I'm just gonna see if everything else is gonna survive. Mama's like, okay, we need bedding. Like, we're staying at a
Don't make fun of me.
hotel.
Listen to me.
We're staying at a
That
hotel.
is
We
genius.
need
We got stuck out in Montana.
we
for
need
freezing.
bedding.
Couldn't
You
find
never
a place.
know if you need bedding. It's like, Mama, it's like pretty
Hold
much
on,
summertime.
Alexa.
We need bedding. Rachel is packing food. Rachel goes like full style. She's throwing stuff into things. She's at the fridge, and we have all of these green juices, you know, because I've been fasting. And she goes, okay, we need to pack the juice. And I was like impressed. No, I was impressed by this. She had the grocery bag right down there, and she's like, I literally was like stood there and stared for a minute. I'm like, I know that the house could possibly burn down, but I gotta take this moment in, because Rachel's like a pro. The juice, the grapefruit, the avocado.
We're always trying to, like, we do comedy in my house. We practice having a sense of humor. I think that that's vital. I really do. We watch the Dick Van Dyke Show every night, pretty much, like, on average, for, like, I want to say 15 years on average, because we would go through spouts where we wouldn't watch it, but like we were mostly watching the Dick Van Dyke Show, and they're very quick-witted, and we've listened to a lot of just quick-witted shows. I'll do a rundown on that later, but we're always trying to find the humor in things, and we got that from my mom a lot, because my mom has had a very tragic life, but she was always able to find the humor in things. So we were just like, I've never felt such a release in my soul, where I was like, I literally had spent the whole day getting everything in my room all set up. Everything was all ready. I had photos out. I was just like, oh, I feel at home. And then to have this feeling of like, this could all go up in smoke. And I was like, okay. All right. God, if you don't want me to have this stuff, that's okay. Like, the people that I love are safe and are fine. And that's really all that matters to me. And I guess I can start over, like, you know. So we were kind of laughing about that in the hotel, but it was, I'm not going to lie. I mean, I was nervous driving away. I was like, I can't believe this is happening. You know what I mean? But at the same time, it was like, well, that's life. You know, if it all goes up, it goes up. There's nothing I can do about it. I did grab my computer and a couple of special items, because I knew, well, these can't be replaced. There's no way that I'm going to leave my computer, because it has all my writing on it, so I'm taking that. But other than that, I was like, nah, you know, so but I felt like I passed some kind of test from God, like the ability to let things go, you know? So that was interesting. So that was the first day that I came here. Then throughout the next week, I broke the washer. So this is the part that needs to come out. And what happened was I took the door, the washer was still running, and my mom was like, it sounds funny. Can you see what's sounding funny? And I was like, okay. And I mean, I don't look it, but I'm pretty strong, and so I just jerked that thing open. And I broke the door lock, and I was like, oh no. And I thought maybe I only broke the little, like the latch on the outside of the door. I broke the whole thing. So anyway, but thankfully it's an easy fix. And I'm kind of like, there's a lot of engineer people in my family, so I actually like handy stuff. I like being handy around the house. It makes me happy. Lexi laughs at me and says it's Pop's shop because I like to be handy, but I really find enjoyment in like making the house nice and being able to fix things. That makes me very happy. I think everybody should know how to fix a few things. So anyway, so my poor sister Rachel had to lug the laundry over to my friend Elise's. Now Elise, I think you guys have met her, but she was one of my friends who lived with me at in the town that we used to live in. She was the next town over that I visited all the time. It was one of my favorite stops. And she had been really feeling like the Lord wanted her to move. And so there was all this back and forth about like, well, could she stay with us? And then could she stay with her family that was in Montana, and like all this crazy stuff. And then it ended up being that she found a place 7 minutes from us that was an Airbnb that was completely furnished. And she went from having like nothing to having everything nicer than it was before. She had a lovely apartment. She did a fabulous job. She's an artist. She did a fabulous job decorating it and everything. But yeah, the new place is like fantastic. Just oogling over the way that God provided for Elise, because literally she moves into town and she moves into a new, like she moves into an Airbnb that is like literally fully furnished and a completely stocked kitchen when it comes to utensils and things. How are you feeling, Miss Elise?
You got cups. You got all kinds of cups.
Extremely jazzed.
Yeah.
Like good energy. And
Yes.
I'm trying to remember what those like athletes say. Good energy right now.
So we were like, Jesus did a good job. You know, it was just really cool. And I was like, Elise, you live like 7 minutes from us. Basically, she has like a room in our house that's 7 minutes away. It's hilarious. So anyway, but she was very kind and gracious and let us use her laundry machine. So my poor sister Rachel had to lug a bunch of stuff over there. And I was like, I'm so sorry, Rachel. I will pay you. But like I realized, just don't take things for granted. Like I feel like this whole week is like, don't take anything for granted. And there's certain things that I've really learned, especially like having consistent pain and, you know, watching my mom be in consistent pain. You know, just to not take, like, don't take a good day for granted. Don't take don't take a productive day for granted. Don't take your hot shower for granted. Don't take your bed for granted. You know, like, everything could be so much worse than it is. You know, I think sometimes we, especially in our, you know, in our first world problems, like we get it, and it's not that those problems aren't valid. I think a lot of times people think like, oh, well, you know, people in the third world are so happy because they don't have all this stuff. It's like, yeah, but they have other problems too, you know? It's not fun to have to go walking like miles and miles to go get water. That's not fun. They're grateful for what they have. If we were all grateful for what we had, we would be just, I mean, we'd be overflowing with joy. We have so much. And so, but what happens is we have the problem of the mind. You know, we have the prison of the mind and the prison of the soul, because I think our souls get poisoned and our minds get poisoned by things that we're listening to and things that we're watching, and our idea of like perfectionism. A lot of us have a lot of perfectionism. And instead of just enjoying life for what it is, like you can walk. You know, if you're able to walk, you can, you know, breathe, you can see, you know, just, you know, you have food available to you, you have a washer and a dryer probably at your house, you know, your house hasn't been burned down in a fire most likely, you know, so it's like just those things. Don't take anything for granted, just don't. So anyway, Elise was thrilled and so happy about her place, and I am so happy for her. And then and then the hot water thing. Our water was not hot at this house for some reason. I was like, I've got to fix the hot water heater. So I went down to the garage and I found a great YouTube video. I thought this guy was hilarious.
My wife gave me a little bit of a honey-do list. She told me that she wanted me to turn up the temperature on the hot water heater. And on the side of the thing is a little booklet. See a little booklet? It's got a little diagram. See a little diagram? Tells me how to turn it up. What the booklet doesn't tell you is where to find the little box. I tinkered with, looking around up here. I open up this fancy little box up here. You see that right there? If you pull that out, it cuts the power off. I found that out the hard way.
So thank you so much for that video. It helped me fix the hot water heater. And we're back. This always happens to me. Something happens to my phone, and then somebody calls me, and then I go do that thing, and then an hour later I come and finish my video. This past weekend, I was not feeling good, and my guy was not feeling good, and then he actually ended up having an emergency surgery for his appendix, and so again, it was just like one of those things where it's like, just don't take anything for granted. But it's just like this whole, I don't know, there was just this theme of like, can you let certain things go, and will you trust me, God speaking, will you trust me for the things that you can't control, So don't take anything for granted and trust me. And so that's kind of been like the theme that I've had for my life this past little bit. And so I just really encourage you to kind of reflect on what things are you truly holding on to, and do they really matter? And are you taking every day not for granted? Are you really looking at a day for what it is? I think sometimes we try to be busy. We're always, we're trying to fill our day with things. And sometimes those things, not that I think being productive is very important. I always think you should be producing something, being useful. You need to be being useful. But it doesn't do any good to just be busy and miss the point of life. Right? You can fill your day with things, you can fill your life with stuff, and at the end of the day and at the end of your life not have anything. And you can have a life that maybe doesn't seem like there was a whole lot going on, but you appreciated every moment. And when you appreciate the moments, that builds up a whole life that can't be bought. If you take the time to appreciate going on a walk, like really appreciate, I can move from one space to the other, and I have the sky, I have, maybe there's leaves rustling around you, maybe you're privileged enough to be able to listen to music as you walk, or, just having this gratefulness for just being alive, and having this gratefulness for having what you do have. Sometimes we can focus on the things that we don't have, for me, it's like I can't sit right now, and that really can make me agitated, but at least I have my brain, at least I can type, at least I can, I have a hot bath, at least I have a beautiful room, there's so many things that I can be grateful for. And, for other things, it's like, what really matters except for the people in your life, it really is about not taking them for granted, and giving everything up to God, and He'll give you back what's yours. And He will, He's not going to, He really won't put you through more than what you can bear. He really won't. But having that gratefulness and that peace within you to be like, I'm not really in control of all this. I've been given a time here, and I've been given some things, and I'm here to do what I can with it. And I'm here to listen more than I am to force myself onto things. I don't know if that's really making any sense, but so much of the time we want to impose our will upon life. We want to impose our will. And I don't really think that life is about that anymore. It's more about listening to what God is telling you to do, and letting that come through you, You know, it's really isn't. I hate to break this to you, but it really isn't your story. And if you try to make it your story, it's going to be bad. And that doesn't mean that, like, God doesn't want us to be active participants in life. He does. I don't know what's going on over there. I don't know. But, y'all are having too much fun. I love them. Anyway, so it's not about imposing our will on life. It's not about us striving for more, you know. It's really about this great unfolding. And it's more about, it's like we're big blocks of marble. And we think that, you know, like, oh, I have to, you know, like make myself something, or I need to add more things to myself. But really it's about letting God chisel away at something that he sees inside of us. You know, like a sculptor will go and get a piece of stone that they feel like, oh, this has potential. This is the shape of the thing that I want it to be. And I can see what it's going to be at the very final, you know, the final piece. And we can't see that. But the more that we let God chip away at things, and the more we let him, you know, dig in here and take away from there, and, you know, and the more we surrender to that, the more we become what we're supposed to be, and the more we tap into that great big story that he has. And our part is really more surrender than it is action. Not that the surrender doesn't lead to action. The surrender almost always leads to action. But it's about letting go of things. Letting go of trying so desperately to be in control. And it's not that he's not going to tell you to do things. He's going to tell you to do things. You're alive. You're breathing. He wants you to act. But we're always in this heart of paradox, right? We're always in the heart of paradox. Always, 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 you know. There's this tension right here where we live right between the two of, you know, am I nothing, or am I great and grand and important? Well, you're both at the same time, and you're contained in this, like, strange paradox where, like, I am so great and grand in God's eyes because he loves me, but I'm also nothing. But I'm still something because he loves me, but I'm nothing. But I'm so important to him, and I'm still, you know, so it's always this swirl, you know, and you're contained within that, and there's a lot of mystery, and there's a lot to explore within these paradoxes. So I'm just so grateful right now to have this space that I have to create, and this was given to me, you know, and this can be taken away from me. And either way, I accept whatever the story is that God wants to do in my life, and it's it's really cool to be in that space, you know. The world won't understand that. You know, the world's going to tell you, you need more. You need to do more. You need to be more. You have to try harder. And God will say, if you let go of what if you let go of your grand ideas for yourself, it's not that even some of those ideas aren't given to you. It's that it has to do with the breath, right? It's breathing. I don't really know how to describe that. God's the air that comes into your lungs. He fills you up, and then, you know, it's like this just, you're always breathing. You're always letting go, right? Even breathing is a paradox, right? It's like you can't always hold it in and you can't always breathe out. It's both. It's, you know, it's this exhale, inhale, you know? But yeah, be grateful for what you have, and don't miss the day. Find the stories that are going on around you and really, really tap into those. So hope that made some sort of sense. I don't know. I'm very tired. Anyway, I'm going to do a house tour for you guys in a little bit. And then we will get back to regularly scheduled programming. All right. Bye-bye.